Old friends are like old memories. They always remind you of your past, and we are reminding ourselves of the past episodes from this week of Good Company for the Best of Good Company with me, Hollie Taylor. I'm Hollie Taylor, and yes, I am a fan of Christmas. I'm so sorry if you're not. I say sorry to producer Mike on the daily because I just can't help myself. We've been listening to Christmas music in our house for a couple weeks now, and not even on my own accord. My children request Christmas music. So I'm just chomping at the bit. December 1st, we're playing Christmas music right here on Joy Radio. We'll ease you into it, so don't worry. But I had to go around and ask the crew here how ready they are for Christmas. Because it's a month away, guys. Time's ticking. So far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 don't have their tree up. I'm the only one who's put up 2 trees. Which might seem ridiculous, but I had to decorate the office because we're gone for 2 weeks. So we need a good 3 weeks to enjoy the tree. I mean, a lot of work goes into putting up a tree. So you might as well enjoy it. Producer Mike's rolling his eyes. It was, you helped me and my daughters on Friday.
Yeah, and it took like an hour. I wouldn't say that was a lot of work.
It's an hour of time.
It was harder to wrangle your children. That was the hardest part about putting up the tree.
But it's like effort. It was an hour. You could have been working.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go with me here.
Okay, I'll
you
roll
put
with it.
effort and time into decorating the tree. It's not just like a 2-second thing. Although, tell me about your Christmas tree.
My Christmas tree is a 2-second thing. I take it out of the closet. I put it in the corner on top of my stereo. Bam. Plug it in.
Done.
It's got those little fiberglass lights that poke up out the top of it.
Yeah.
It looks like I spent about $20 on it.
Yeah.
It's maybe 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah, but you actually only spent 10?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I love a good bargain.
Yeah.
So, producer Mike, I'm going to go with you do not have your tree up yet.
No.
And it'll probably go up December 24th?
Maybe a week before Christmas. Yeah.
Okay.
I eventually get into the holiday spirit. It's just a lot closer to said holiday.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. You call it a holiday. I call it a season.
It really is because you celebrate it for 3 months.
Yes, I do.
I think October 17th was the first time you mentioned Christmas this year.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just ramping up. So again, my apologies. I just really enjoy celebrating Jesus' birth. So we're going to be talking about Christmas decor today. We're a month out. I'm curious, are you like me and the early starter? Are you like producer Mike and the super late starter? Or like the rest of the team, it looks like they're all putting up their tree after American Thanksgiving, so this weekend or next. So where do you fall on the spectrum of Christmas decor decorating starting? Yes. Christmas. Let's get to it. When do you start decorating? Sally says, I'm more like producer Mike Hollie. Too soon. Fine, Sally. We all have our
Sally.
things.
Thank you. I feel vindicated.
I mean, there's nothing wrong about setting up the tree only a week before. I just love to enjoy it longer. That's all. I've got Mel here saying, I'm like you, Hollie. My tree is already up, mainly because we have a lot of people that come over during the Christmas season, and I don't want to have to worry about it. So, very, very practical. I like this. And I also like that you've got your tree up already. A few of you saying December 1st, that first weekend in December. So, yeah, that's generally when I normally put up the Christmas tree. I'm not too sure. This year, we were early. I don't know why. I just was. I'm Hollie Taylor, and as I alluded to last hour, they've been doing some studies on how we give. And I think this is self-explanatory, but there is an increase in people's giving in that last quarter of each and every year. So it's about 43% of us are using the end of the year to boost our giving. And it doesn't have to be financial. It could be donating. It could be volunteering a bit more, doing good deeds. But people are just looking for ways to do good. However, it looks like Gen Z and millennials are actually doing more good throughout the year. They're not just waiting to that last quarter. About 59% of them are doing the best they can to increase the giving heading into the new year, but they want to make sure they continue doing it throughout all 2025, compared to 37 of Gen X and baby boomers. So just interesting to see the intentionality of this next and younger generation. So, are they setting a new standard for us? Hey, can we give too much? I don't know. Maybe in some cases, healthy boundaries is definitely needed. But in this day and age, there are so many people who could use our support. So do you find that you tend to give more at the end of the year? Or is this just something you're intentional about doing all throughout the year? You can text in 905-338-1250. I'm Hollie Taylor. We're talking about giving after a new survey says that the Gen Zs and the millennials are giving more, and they're giving more, especially in this third quarter. And this is compared to the Gen X and baby boomers. So just interesting to see the different generations and just like why people want to give back. And maybe they just have more motivators. The sense of purpose, wanting the world to be a better place. And giving also helps your own emotional well-being. So a lot of incredible reasons why we give. Also, there's just like this great satisfaction of giving, isn't it? You get a chance just to give somebody something. And it's not even like you think, yeah, I did that. But it changes your heart. It really does. So for you, do you tend to give more at Christmas, or is it just a regular part of your day-to-day? 905-338-1250. Luke says that he does tend to be a bit more generous at Christmas time because there seems to be more accessibility to the opportunities. Yeah, that makes sense. Totally does. Also, I know businesses tend to give at the end of the year, because it's easier for the tax write-offs. You know what? We'll take the givings however we can, especially like I mentioned when there are so many people who could use some extra support. Lisa says, all year round, we try to make it a part of our way of life. Can't do it all the time, but we do our best to do it as often as we can. I'm Hollie Taylor, and there's been a lot of loss this year. And as we reflect, I feel like we've lost a lot of people who were incredible mentors and just really great people. So if that's a little snapshot of your year, I'm thinking about you as we head into the Christmas season. The first of everything is definitely the worst. It really is. When it comes to grief and loss. Maybe it's your baby's first Christmas, though, or the first time with grandbabies. Life is full of ebb and flows. And so here we are. We're in this season, and there is a mixed bag of emotions. But it helps sometimes to shift the language into saying positive things instead of a negative shift on them. Thinking of the Jones family as they received an award that their dad would have been able to receive. However, he has passed, Quincy Jones. And so they just talked about his legacy and how he just wanted to live a life full of love. And so he was just wanting his kids to embrace the idea of living each day as though it's your last. And then he would go on to say, because one day it will be. And so just an incredible legacy, just seeing his children share about one of their biggest takeaways from him, and for them, he was love. So what are some of those things that you can do to shift up some of the language and bring a more positive tone to it? I know it's something that we can do with kids. Instead of telling someone or your kids to calm down, you can say, hey, how can I help you? Instead of making the statement, by asking the question, it can actually help diffuse a lot of situations. So if there are people right now in your life who are having a hard time, instead of saying something like, you're okay, ask, are you okay? Sometimes we want them to be so okay that we put that on them instead of just checking in with where they're at. This is when I say a lot, stop yelling. Well, what do they do in that time they're not yelling if they're full of emotions? So reminding them to take a gentle, deep breath and then tell me what's going on. So how do we shift some of the language and use a positive alternative? Is there something that your parents used to say to you? Maybe it was positive and it helped you reframe the way you were. 905-338-1250. Feel free to call or text to share your story. I'm Hollie Taylor. We're talking about the things that people have said to us that have helped us see situation from maybe a more positive angle, or allowed us not to have so many expectations on ourselves that we could just like release the situation and let it be what it would be. Yeah, because sometimes it's easier just to say those quick little terms like, don't get upset. Don't get upset about it. It kind of undermines those people's emotions. And so just reminding them, hey, it's okay to feel sad. And do you need a hug? So anyway, feel free to text in 905-338-1250. Producer Mike, has anyone, like a mentor or a family member, said something to you that helped you reframe a situation?
For sure. I had a counselor when I was like late teens, early through mid-20s.
Yeah.
She was great. She used to say, sometimes good enough is good enough.
Ah.
And, sometimes you're not doing your best. Sometimes maybe you didn't sleep right. Maybe you're going through a bad breakup and it's just hard to focus on things. Sometimes good enough is good enough. Just get through the day and do as best you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. It gives yourself grace.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are harder on ourselves than we are other people.
Always. Speaking for myself, I'm always harder on myself. I give everybody else the grace.
Yeah.
And then for myself, there's none of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It reminds me of the verse when it says, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
But you got to treat yourself that same way.
I know. It's so hard. Why is it so hard?
Stop being mean to yourselves. Give yourself grace and space today. Well, that's a wrap. Those are our favorite memories from this past week. Join me for more Good Company live every weekday from 4:30 till 6 p.m. here on Joy Radio. Oh, and don't forget, you can also catch up by subscribing to our Joy Radio podcast. If you'd like to join in on the conversation, text 905-338-1250. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on Monday.